Wednesday, June 17th. What? I feel like I look naked underneath my overalls today, but I do have a tank top on. I am not naked, but even if I was, that'd be fun too, because why wouldn't being naked on a Wednesday be a good idea? So, I'm actually just coming in to share a little bit about the work that I am really committed to right now. And it is part of my spiritual practice. It is part of, growth, expansion, success, launching a successful business, staying successful, feeling confident and aligned and juicy and all the good things. And it actually has everything to do with the present moment. The present moment, right here, right now, in this video with you. Nothing else exists. Nothing. Right now I can't even think about what I want to do after the video, or what led me to wanting to have this conversation in the first place. So I want to just lead into why this is so impactful, if you're open to it, because I really don't want to talk about it, you know what I'm saying? I remember, and this is how uncomfortable the present moment can be. I remember picking up The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And this was a couple years ago. And I opened up the book and I started reading it, and I wanted to throw the fucking book across the room and be like, this book is stupid. I hate it. I think I know everything I know everything in this book. I don't need to read it. This book is just silly. Of course everything happens in the present moment. Right? But the fact of the matter was, I was resisting the very thing that I needed in order to step forward in my business and in my life. Hey, Joanne! Oh, my fist pump on her. And so that book in itself was a catalyst for so many different things happening. The Power of Now. So here's what I want you guys to be thinking about right here, right now, with me in this moment, is that every single second that is going by, we are all existing in the present moment. But what happens is we get pulled out. We don't physically leave. Our body stays in the present moment at all times. And when we're fully present in the moment, ease and flow happens. Your connection to God, Source, Creator is aligned. You feel just like you're on top of the world. We can all think of a time in our lives where we're like, oh, yeah, I've totally felt that way. That's choosing to be exactly where you are in that moment. So you can witness and experience yourself, you as a confident, celestial being here on this earth, just interacting with the cool vibes and energy all around you. It's a very, very, very powerful and magical place to be. But what happens is we can have certain things in our exterior world affect us, right? And what I mean by affect of it is that, something will happen. Maybe your partner says something, maybe your kids leave the socks on the floor, maybe you're driving and somebody cuts you off in the highway or on the road, and all of a sudden a sensation or feeling comes over your body, and in that sensation or feeling we get pulled into the past like a vortex. And we start to experience what we're doing from a place of a previous emotion, a previous feeling, a previous experience. Something happens. So in the present moment, there's no blame, there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's simply love, there's simply joy, there's simply just being just where we are. Somebody can say something to you and you're like, oh, yeah, I think that's actually kind of true. There's no guilt, like nothing. The minute we vortex into the past, right? So we're still in the present, because we never leave the present. I just want you guys to know that right now, right here, right this moment, we're in the present, but we become an experience of our past. And so we're witnessing the world from a place that no longer exists, right? Like our past no longer exists. It was yesterday. It was 10 minutes ago. It was like 30 years ago, whatever it was. And so in that moment, when we go back into our past, our brains start to talk to us from a sense of like, you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, you're not right enough, you're not this enough, this person is not doing their job, and it's because they're not doing that job that this is happening. And we get into a cyclic, like almost like spiral. I love that word. Spiral, not like the Fibonacci spiral, because we love the Fibonacci spiral. This is more like a spiral where we don't even realize that we are literally looking at every single circumstance, experience, and human that is engaging with us from an experience from our past, because that's what our ego is telling us to do. You know what? I gotta tell you something about that, you guys. When we are in our past experiences, whew, let me just give you a sensation of what being in the past feels like. Oh, it's so hard, right? Like, it's so hard. Everything feels like a struggle. I just don't know what to do. I've just got all of this stuff, like, we start to convince. You don't understand. You don't understand how hard it's been. You don't understand what, my life has been like. You don't understand why this is happening to me. Like, let me give you the detailed rundown of all the reasons, and we convince ourselves and others of the struggle that we are in. These are clear indicators that you are not existing in this beautiful, juicy, aligned, like, magical, experiential moment of the present. Let's talk about being in the present but jumping to the future, because I have anxiety, and I 100% know what it feels like to spin to the future. And the future is an interesting thing to be in the present, because the present never is not happening. Let's just keep saying that. The present is not ever exactly here right now with us. That's what the present feels like. Just so you have like a scenario of like the past was like all like this. The present's like, ooh, what's going to happen today? And the future looks like this. Oh my God. Okay. So there's so many things I need to do. I need to make my, I got so many things. I got to get the list to go. I got to go to this place. I got to do all these things. Okay. And you tend to watch somebody who is actually existing in the future, in the present moment, that they can't keep their eyes on you. They look away, and you'll notice their eyes do a lot of this. Because they're in their head, right? They're creating the lists. They're doing all the things. They're thinking ahead to usually put out a fire of some kind. Somebody who likes to live in the future is like, okay, I've got to have 17 plans available, because if something goes wrong or something happens, I want to make sure that no matter if this happens, then I've got this figured out, and if that happens, I've got this figured out, and if this happens, this gets figured out. You know those kinds of scenarios, because I'm really good at them. I have spent most of my life creating all of the plans and the contingencies, and if this goes wrong or if this goes right, and then you might get in your head about like, okay, your finances, right? Because that's one juicy way to even jump into the future. You're thinking about like paying your bills. You're out it, but the thing about this is that you're creating in that moment, because the future, when you're visualizing or you're thinking about something, has a pretty high percentage and chance to become your current reality, because you're focused on it so intently. So there's that piece of information. The other piece about existing in your future is that it literally drives your brain fucking crazy. And it sends you into a place of worry and overwhelm. So we were talking about struggle and hard being in your past. When you're in your future, it's overwhelming. Do you know how many things are potentially possible in your future? Do you have any idea that like millions and trillions of things that could happen, that could change any of the single plans that you're trying to run through in your head right now? Do you know how much that brain power requires to hold all of the stories that you're creating? I do. Yes, trying to solve shit that hasn't even happened yet. So it's interesting because the greatest level of success. So when we talk about success, you guys, and you can talk to any like entrepreneur, you can talk to any like business owner, you can talk to any human who feels like, if you actually say like, are you successful? Do you feel successful? Right? If I'm saying that to you, what do you hear in your head right now? Like, no, there's so many. Think about that. Do you feel successful? Right? You might go into your past there. You might feel that question and be like, yeah, but I don't have any proof of it. You know what I mean? Like, I've tried to do all these things and I just haven't been able to work yet. That's your past talking, right? You might be like, I'll be successful when I accomplish all these things. Then I'll be successful. Future. Come into the present with me for a second. Let's ask that question. Take a breath. Just anchor into that feeling and that sensation right here, right now. And ask yourself, are you successful? Yeah, you know what? In the present moment, I am all things, including successful, right this second. Yes, how can I not be? I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm drinking out of a love mug. I am freaking successful. And do you know how easy things are when you stand in your inner knowing, your mastery in the present moment? Your connection to God, Source, Creator is just right available. Like a quick, hey, yo, Spirit, let's do this. Now, the idea here, you guys, is not to beat yourself up. True success is how quickly you can come back and realize that you've been in one of these two places and come back to the present moment, because this is my journey and I've been on it for a really long time. And just recently, through everything that was happening in the world, I spiraled for probably like 11 to 12 days. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoop. Oh my God, I've been in my past for 11 to 12 days. Holy shizers, that was a longer one than I have been in a while, but well, I'm out of it now. I'm in the present. This is delightful. And you move forward and you celebrate choosing the present. You do not beat yourself up for 1 second for being in either of these places, because every moment that you come back to that center and every moment you come back into the present moment, you give yourself a high five, a hell yeah, you did it, you rock, you are amazing. Let's keep this good shit up. That's what you do. You give yourself that fucking pep talk of, yeah, I'm in the present. Oh, it feels so good and easy here. And I'm going to choose it. I'm going to choose it again and again and again and again. So when do you know? When do you know? So I gave you some examples of things you might be saying or doing when you're in one of those places. Create a list in which you know, I've told my husband recently, when you hear me like wanting to like blame you for things, you know I've left and I've gone into the past. Call me out. When I start to get anxious, this morning I was a little anxious. What do I do when I want to kind of slip into the future a little bit? For me, I have to move my body, because the body is like, it takes me from the brain, which is where we go in our future self, and it grounds me into the present moment. So I went and did some interval sprints, but that's what works for me. You find the things and the ways that when you become perceptually aware of when you're slipping into the past or driving into the future, what can I do in those moments that will become the catalyst to get me back into the present? And your awareness of yourself, because capital SELF, is the only person who can answer the question for you. There is nobody else in the world, my friends, nobody else in the world who can say to you when you're driving into the future or you're slipping into the past, this is the thing that you will do in order to find yourself in the present moment again. That is alignment to your own inner conversation with your being. What is it for you? What is it for you? Maybe you need to have a bath. Maybe it's a walk in nature. Maybe it's calling a friend and saying, dude, I need you. Right? Whatever it is, write it down, place it in a book, somewhere that you can see it, because this is a practice. It is a practice. It is not something we get right. It is not something that the true success is, again, how much time can I spend in the present? That is it. That is it. So this is, we're in it for the long haul. This is something that you just commit to. You commit to it. You make a yes right now. Hell yeah. Woo! I'm choosing the present. No matter how many times I slip into the past or I drive into the future, I will find myself back here. I promise you that. And when I do, I will cheer myself and I will celebrate myself and I will find joy in the moment, because here I am and I am so grateful to this moment. So grateful to this moment. To find myself here in this moment with you guys in this conversation. I just got shivers. You guys are so magical and so powerful and so grounded and so loving. So just come into that receiving. And just feel your truth. Choose right here. Choose your I am. Are you successful? I am. Happy tea with Tamara. I'm so excited. If you have questions, thoughts, emotions. Oh, Joanne, I just love you. I'm so grateful that you were here. Just seeing your name and your face just brought me so much joy today. Joanne was somebody that I celebrated my very first book I ever wrote with. I got to sit next to Joanne at a table on a marketing weekend. Over 3 years ago now. Wow. All right, sending love bombs on you all. Have a magical day. If you're interested in learning more about the internal chakra system, I invite you over to the Rebel Unicorns Facebook group. Every day there's a conversation about working on your internal landscape because answers are happen within. So if you want to pop over, just Google search Rebel Unicorns. I put the link everywhere on everything, so I figure you guys are tired of seeing it. But if you want to, just go to Rebel Unicorns and come spend time in here. Your home, it's your office, it's your vessel, it's your connection. It's the most amazing place to be. Have a great day.